This conference will now be recorded.
Y'all good down there?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman.
All right, everybody. I'd like to call the meeting to order. As always, let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, given that Mr. Dawson couldn't be here in person, I move that we allow Supervisor Dawson to appear at the January 9th, 2024 meeting remotely.
I'll second.
Motion's made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. All right.
I would like, for the record, Mr. Dawson is not feeling well. He's ill, so.
Yes, sir, and we'll note for the record, your policy allows remote participation for the maximum 2 times per year, so we'll note this is the first of the 2 times.
Dustin,
That's
welcome. Can you hear us?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, great. We do have a quorum. We do need to adopt an agenda. The only item that I have that we should add, I'd like to add, is under old business. I'd like to put 2A is Mr. Wigby's leathers request. Anybody else have anything we need to add to the agenda this afternoon?
No, sir.
Got anything down there?
No, sir, Mr. Chairman.
All right, what would y'all like to do?
I move to approve the agenda as presented.
Motion's made and seconded.
Mr. Chairman, just
Yes,
a
sir.
minor correction. The motion is presented. Do we need a minute, or is presented acceptable, or?
Did you say amended or presented?
As presented.
All right. Motion is made and seconded. Discussion. All right, now discussion. What about adding the 2A leathers request, Jim?
I move to amend the agenda with the letters request.
Do you amend your second?
I amend the second.
All right, that seems legitimate. Motion's made and seconded. Further discussion? Thank you, Mr. Weekly. Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. All right, as always, let's start with public comment. Public comment. Public comment. Everybody has better sense than is staying at home. All right, we'll do public comment again. Constitutional officers, county departments, committees, and organizations. Hannon, can you pass the microphone over to, or Tracy, you want to start? We'll go backwards. Tracy, welcome.
Thank you very much. Happy New Year and happy Law Enforcement Appreciation Day.
Good.
Let's see. Dave Bolton from Balltop did a great job representing Madison in the food and beverage industry at the CVPED meeting December 15th. Since we have a new member, I will try to word my acronyms. So, Central Virginia Partnership for Economic Development. I attended the Zoom for the SEDS committee meeting, and that is the Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy committee team, and that's with the Regional Commission in Culpeper, and they were also working with the Thomas Jefferson Partnership in Charlottesville. Camoin Associates went over the schedule and progress. Some goal areas are 1, places and spaces for economic development, site infrastructure and adaptive reuse, existing and emerging target industries, workforce development and partnership, and that's with implementation through collaboration. Much of it followed our comp plan in terms of natural resources for rural areas and agritourism. I did have an AFID call, which is, this is like an exam, Agriculture and Forestry Industries Development Funds Grant. With Hidden Pines, we're hopefully having another one and nailing that down tomorrow. Had an interview with Virginia Business, which is why I wasn't at the county luncheon. Attended the comp plan meeting. There's another one next week, and there will be a Realtors Roundtable the 24th, and we'll go over the comp meeting stuff. attended the Development Committee meeting where Hart's new application for the kennel was recommended to go forward to the Planning Commission. Working on budget, and then setting some dates. I think our Business Appreciation Expo will be May 24th, and the dinner will be May 20th at Early Mountain and Bavarian Chef, hopefully catering again. You don't want to miss that one. New initiative for my department and in collaboration with the Chamber. Met with Ellen Phipps with Aging Together and hopefully making Madison a dementia-friendly community for all businesses. It's a short training program. We hope to have a meeting here, an informational meeting. They get a little decal. They spend like 30 minutes being trained, and it's a nice thing to say that we have and that we pay attention to those things. We're working on more, getting events and dates put on multiple calendars. It's always promoting everybody's activities. And I will be out February 5th through the 18th, so I will not be here for the February meeting. Oh, I did include the grant, the Cluster Growth Grant, and I don't know if Francois is on, but she is the author of that one. But they put out the RFP for a wine consultant, so I sent it out to all the wineries as well to see if they had anybody that they knew that should apply for that. And Cardi asked a good question as to what we will bring to Madison. So it's going to do it for the region, which is how we have to apply for these grants. However, we're hoping it's not to look out to bring more business, but to expand the ones that we already have. So the number of existing businesses expanded, revenue increased, capital raised, increase in exported product sales, and jobs retained or created. That's the main gist.
All right.
I got one question for you,
Yeah,
Tracy.
go.
I was looking through the grant and all the partners and the collaboration. Why isn't RRC involved in this?
They're on the board. If we need their help, they'll be willing to help. And they can be one of the organizations, but it's a Go Virginia grant, so a
Yeah.
lot of times it kind of,
I mean,
it's the Region 9 versus, yeah.
Yeah, so just like RRCs, a certain region usually get stuck in planning districts and so
Okay, so
forth.
it's
What Tracy
9.
is saying is, yeah, we're Region 9 for Go Virginia, out of the state. Go Virginia is a state initiative for economic development. So there is some crosswalk at times for
Yeah.
Central Virginia Partnership for Economic Development in Go Virginia, but Go Virginia is the state initiative.
It's
So when
a
they talk
crossover.
about cluster grants or cluster industries, it's looking at not just Madison, but are there other counties such as Nelson or other counties that can pair up with Madison. So this is the Region 9.
And it is kind of the crossover thing, just like with the VADI grants and
Yeah.
Thomas Jefferson Partnership too.
okay.
But Patrick Monty, as well as Christine Jacobs.
Yes.
With Thomas Jefferson Planning District Commission, both of those commission are members on the Go Virginia.
And Francois is our private sector member on the Go Virginia.
And then as well as Tina Weaver was recently added.
Yeah, I mean, just RRC carries a lot of weight everywhere, so I like to throw them in the mix whenever we can. So,
Agree. Why not capitalize on an
Yeah.
asset? What are we still doing with the APHIS grant with Hidden Pines? I thought that was awarded. What?
It was awarded, but both of our APHID grants were awarded during COVID. Revelation was the first one awarded
Yeah.
after, the first one outside, everybody met
Yeah.
for COVID. All the prices, the construction, it's specialized construction for Hidden Pines. They're just trying to get the numbers down, and they don't want to claw back. So they want to make sure they have all the numbers, any extensions they may need. And we're just trying to get the performance contract settled.
Okay. All right. Good.
And it has something to do with, as well as, they were down from 6 staff to 1 at VDAX. Virginia
Yeah.
Agriculture Department and Consumer Services.
Yeah. All right. Other questions for Tracy? Thank you, Tracy. Steve, how's the planning commission doing?
Let's see, we're, actually, the agenda's pretty light for this month, I think. We have, I believe, one subdivision still on the planning, and as you said, the dog rescue thing is probably coming back with some revisions. Both of our standing committees are active right now. One of them is working on examining the existing zoning ordinances and looking toward updating things and getting some wording corrected and things like that. And of course, the other one is working on getting some information together, trying to design a more effective boundary adjustment set of regulations for our ordinances.
Mhm. And what kind of update on the comp plan? Any,
The first portions, looking at the agriculture, basically up through the economic situation, that's pretty much kind of in a draft stage. We still have I think at our next meeting, we have 2 more sections that we're looking at. But that's, now that we're going to be back looking at what we have collected, Ligon and the
planner?
Anyway,
Yeah,
anyway,
Miss Little.
Miss Little, yes. They have put together a lot of information, and I think our next stage, once we get this done, is to begin editing and making it smaller. Because right now it's pretty large.
All right. Anybody have questions for Steve? Comp plan sure is entertaining. All right, pass it back to Annette, would you? How's the animal shelter, Annette?
I think it's doing great.
Good.
So for December, the 4-H Livestock Club brought in donations that their members had gathered. Union Bank entrusted a donation drive for the shelter and the Humane Society. Both part-time staff, Melissa and Joyce, had their rabies titers drawn at the health department to check for their antibody levels. We do have one part-time employee that will be leaving at the end of January due to having surgery. I talked to Tilly. I believe the position should be advertised the middle of this month. We'll be starting on the end of the year state report. Our numbers for December were 5 dogs adopted, 4 dogs were claimed, 3 sent to rescue, Heart, PAL Incorporated, and the Augusta SPCA, 7 cats adopted, 1 from PetSmart, and 3 cats to rescue, PAL Incorporated. And we started January with 3 cats and 3 dogs.
What's out there today?
4 dogs and 1 cat.
It's pretty incredible.
Yes.
All right. Do you have any questions for Annette?
I just have a quick question.
Please.
What is a hybrid canine? Is that a coy dog, a wolf dog? What is that?
It's a wolf dog.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah, good. We're all learning things. All right. Thank you, Annette. All right, Mr. Ferguson, welcome. Oh, how's dispatch?
We're doing okay. For our emergency communications for the month, 911 calls received from residences was 107 calls. Wireless calls were 345. We've also taken 1,828 administrative calls to the center and had made outgoing calls of 948 calls for a total call volume in the center for 3,228. That's only 84% of what the same time period of last year. But the percentage for overall calls for the year to date was 98% of it. So we're pretty much running right the same rate. Our calls for service through sheriff, fire, and EMS last month were 1,046, bringing our call volume for the whole year to 13,571 calls for service, which is 106% of last year's numbers. With that, with the radio project going on, the status of it right now, the only thing we have on the board right now is that we're still waiting for the Churchill site to be completed. And since this is only my second day, I'm still getting up to speed with the project itself, and I'll be getting together with Brian and getting up to speed on the radio project so I can give you some more information on that. Right now for staffing for the center, we're experiencing a shortage of 3 positions. I do have 1 individual in training. And actually I've just received a couple more applications, so hopefully we'll get some more numbers going. In our community outreach through the center, for Christmas, we had our elderly call-in members. We have gift delivery that we did. And I'd like to mention that several of our dispatchers go above and beyond with personal phone calls to these individuals. They go out and some of them actually go shopping for them, take them out to go get their haircut or help get them groceries and things like that. So we do have a good rapport with our elderly calling members. And that's the end of the report.
When's your one person come out of training?
They'll be going to the Academy for Certification in February. And that's a week-long program. And then once they get back into the center, then there's kind of more of the, kind of like a ride-along program with the experienced dispatcher. This individual is showing, good promise and good aptitude. I believe they're ahead of schedule for that aspect, so we're getting them squared away before they go to the Academy for Training. And one of the individuals that I have an application for is from another jurisdiction's dispatch center, which would hopefully I can glean and bring them on board also.
Good. All right.
So, Mr. Ferguson, how many total positions do you have? If you were fully staffed, you would have how many in there?
Good
At
question.
least 11 dispatchers?
11, and you're down 3.
Yes, sir.
Yikes.
And that's 11 dispatchers with 2 supervisors and myself.
In addition to the 11,
Right.
2 supervisors, and then you. I don't know, this is kind of a far-fetched question, but, EMS can call on other counties for mutual aid. Is that possible in the dispatch world? I mean, somebody is doing a lot of covering and working a lot of hours if you're down 3.
Well,
So-
we meet our minimum staffing of 2 dispatchers a shift. We meet that. That's 8. So we have a couple extra. Well, we don't have a couple extra right now. We still have 2 per shift. But it puts us in a spot to where we need assistance or we need people working overtime to cover for days off, sickness, things like that. If we have to upstaff for, say, the storm, it's another situation. Our prime staffing would allow us to have 3 people, so we have that 1 extra person on duty at the same time, so we have the 2 minimum plus 1.
That's the ideal
That's the ideal.
staffing for a shift.
Correct. And to try to get people from another jurisdiction, they're just in the same spot we are. They're right there running at minimum staffing, if not just above. So it's hard to grab from them if they're in the same position as we are.
All right, thank you.
Good question.
Yes, sir.
Other questions? All right, thank you very much, Sean. All right, pass it back to the sheriff.
Good afternoon, everyone. As usual, we're busy this time of year, and no, my business is nothing good occurring in my business right now. That's the way it is. Some good news, though, I'm going to share with you. We have a group, several members, part of the Blue Ridge Task Force. And I'll just give you updates on what occurred several weeks ago. Started out in this area, went down to Lake Anna, and around here and there, and ended up in Northern Virginia. We got about $186,000 of cocaine. Let's see, a little $4 million worth of marijuana, scripts, mushrooms. I'm just hitting high numbers here. THC, about $500,000 worth of THC. Let's see, more mushrooms, LSD, THC, multiple weapons that the ATF had to be called in on, and about $386,000 in cash. So after everybody gets their hand in the pocket, we'll end up with maybe about $30,000 coming to the county. So our extra person that went on the task force, it's starting to pay off. So this is one of those things you may hit every 4, 5, 6 years. We got to hit, and it turned out for everybody. So this stuff was coming through our county, involved in our county. We're still dealing with the fentanyl and all the other issues, and scripts are out there everywhere, but this helped a little bit against the bad guys. So we're still at it. We're still too short. We have 2 people in the academy now. They come out in June, July. There'll still be another 4 to 6 months thanks to DCJS. They're adding additional travel time, ride time, and training time to them. As Sean stated, our calls are ever increasing. It's just the weather, that time of year, there's nothing really positive going on right now. But we're out there every day. So. Any questions?
All right, questions for the sheriff? We
Yeah,
do.
you said you're too short with Tune Academy?
No,
Or-
they're the two short with it, yeah. In the academy, we don't count them to actually, they get out
Okay, so-
and finish riding and, yeah.
Then you'll be even once they're out?
Yes, that's correct.
Well, it's good that we went back with the Blue Ridge Task Force, it looks like.
Yeah.
Glad to see a lot of this stuff getting knocked off the streets and positive for everybody. And yeah, we all appreciate the, law enforcement day today, as Tracy
That's
brought
two
up.
people
So
that's making
that's
reference
great.
to
That's
that.
very
Two
good.
people.
That's,
I appreciate that.
yeah, yeah.
Man,
Going at it. Other questions for the sheriff? Thank you for what you're doing.
thank you.
Noah?
All right, good afternoon. December was busy, 182 calls, 11 minutes was our average response time. Continuing to help our adjacent counties with mutual aid. Thankfully to report, we're fully staffed. Continuing to help out with events, the Friday Night Lights. And we started up our blood pressure program with the senior center. So we're going next door and once a month checking blood pressures and PR. I had a great meeting with the high school about a high school EMT program. The idea is to be able to hopefully keep folks within Madison. It's a great career path. Start out as a volunteer and then transition into a job potentially. They have a cosmetology program currently where they send folks to Orange County, and we're looking to try and do that as well. We don't have the infrastructure to host our own EMT program, but if we can partner with Orange, which they verbally told us they'd be open to that, to be able to get folks trained. Dr. Rames came out on the 4th. It was a great time. He got to go on a couple calls. He's very interactive with the team. The team is interactive with him. So our new medical director is continuing to work out well. And then the final thing is we established an employee engagement committee based off of feedback with morale, communication, and so forth. The idea behind that is ownership. So if we're not aware of problems, we can't fix problems, and I really want the team to be involved with that. That's all I have. Happy to answer any questions.
The high school right now has a nursing program. There's no way to tie the EMT program into the nursing program in any way?
No, sir.
That's a bummer.
Mr. Chairman, made
Yeah,
that program
please.
too, I mean, we love the crosswalk where we can,
Yeah.
but that program, I believe, is tied to UVA. So it depends on who's the proctor, who's giving the class. This would be specific where Madison can do the training for this program. And again, UVA has the nursing program. We're glad they have it. We just want to augment what they're offering to mainly Chief Hillstrom's point, where we can recruit some folks. Start that new generation, whether it's law enforcement or, in this case, EMTs.
Also, got an email, you're doing a CPR class open to everyone?
Everyone.
What is the date of that?
January 18th. I have to look at the flyer. Do we have the flyer on the website? There it is.
Yeah.
So that'll be at the former Rescue Squad building. Daryl Preston is the instructor. It's not a certification class, it's awareness. But it is open to anybody who wants to learn life-saving skills.
It's a good thing to do. All right, anybody else have questions for Noah? No, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Mooney? All right. Ms. Warren, please.
Good afternoon. A couple updates on finance. The audit is a little behind. Per the auditors, they've gotten behind, so they were not able to come tonight. They plan to get the final, or the draft to us this week and present on the first Board of Supervisor meeting in February. So we have had to reschedule them. Tilly and I are actively running our first payroll in Munis today.
Hey.
And it's going well, so we are up and running in Tyler with HR and payroll. Time and attendance, we are very close to our online timesheet program that we are developing. And we are actually going to have some training with the staff on end-user training at the end of this month and the 1st of February. And ESS, which is employee self-service, that's another new program we're implementing so employees can log in and get their pay stubs. And so that's also going to be a part of that training. The FY25 budget meetings are coming up. We have sent all the templates to the department managers, and we are actively getting in outside agency requests. And we will be scheduling meetings for the upcoming budget meetings. A lot going on. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
All right, why are we behind on the audit?
The auditors, it's not us. We've gotten them everything they need. They have just been behind on the
All
schedule.
right. Okay. Other questions for Mrs. Warren? Thank you, Mr. Warren.
Thank you.
All right, back to you, Ed Warren. Please, go ahead.
Good afternoon. Well, we've been having some bad weather lately, just a little bit of ice and stuff, so we've been addressing those. We call them hot spots, but wish it was a little bit warmer so they wouldn't be there. We had a fire alarm inspection for the War Memorial Building yesterday, and also the courthouse. That passed and everything went well. We also have our recycling sign up at the landfill, well, the transfer station. And we are gonna be adding more signs out there, just for awareness of the customer. Like over there at the metal pile and stuff, we have people that's going over there picking stuff, and it's really unsafe. It's an unsafe place to be. They don't need to be doing that. And it's taking money back from the contractor that has the contract. So, some bad news, the boiler at the courthouse is still down. We've been trying to find parts for this boiler. We have one up and running, and it's doing fine, but the other one, if the other one fails, we're gonna be in trouble. We've talked to the manufacturer, they don't make the piece anymore. I think it has like maybe 12 years left on its life cycle. And that's really hard to swallow, but we need to do something, and we're just spinning wheels and wasting time at this moment. Then we have a HVAC system that, at the War Memorial Building, the coils went in that. So we had a leak there, I would say 2 weeks ago, where they tried to fill it up with the Freon, and it went through the system and kind of put a haze in the upper layer of the building, and the fire alarms went off, and we had to call 911 for that, but everything is okay there, besides that unit. We need to get that taken care of. And that's about it.
All right, Jonathan has things to say about the boiler. Go ahead.
So the boiler, it is discouraging. You've probably heard this at our, the other government entity in the county where they had boiler failure. So
Yeah.
these are 2009 units, and you would think not being obsolete.
Made awful shoddy.
We have checked with not only the manufacturer as well. Usually manufacturers, if they don't cover directly, they have a distributor or a vendor or someone that they work with. So we've not only touched base with the manufacturer as well as their distributor. We do have a quote for a replacement. The question is, do you go back with that same boiler? Boilers, and I know Mr. Jackson and Mr. Yao on the joint CIP meeting, so they've heard this for the school size. The boilers, you have several components, and bottom line is, I'm gonna come back to 2 weeks for you with some type of approval. But let me walk through it while we're here. So boilers, usually you have redundancy, you'll have two, whether it's a school or a courthouse. You have a concrete pad, you have all threads that the flange of the boilers mount on. Your piping and all is engineered and designed to fit that specific boiler. There are electronic control panels that are made for a specific boiler or manufacturer. So we have tried to look at third-party vendors or the black market or whatever you want to call it, gov deals. Is there this, it's a type of hood piece for the furnace that also has this ceramic insulation. We have been unable to find a provider or someone who has parts that they would sell cheap and anywhere in the United States. The comment we had, no one in Virginia. Okay, does anyone in the United States have this? So they haven't been able to get their hands on that. So the question becomes, I think you have to have a boiler, but I think if we're talking about expectations right now, is if you replace that boiler, really, your options is try to find something to replace it with now other than the same equipment. It would be a different series boiler, but it would be the same manufacturer. Or we try to find something else. If you go with something else, you'll probably be doing some reconfiguration in that room. Either way, a new boiler, same manufacturer, or another company, that starts your period of new life cycle. So you'll have an older unit, newer unit. If you go with I think it's PK Mach is the manufacturer of this equipment, you may be looking at scheduled replacement of both boilers, an older and a newer one, and say 10 years or more from now. So it's not ideal, but my plan is to come back at your next meeting and with a recommendation of purchase. We will have the time, I think the quote's like $33,000, roughly.
We're getting a much better deal than the schools. Keep
They're
going.
they're smaller size.
Yeah,
But
still, it doesn't sound like we're doing very well.
So what we need to nail down before the next meeting is the control portion. Is that sound? Because all these have those electronic panels. So other boiler is running. It's not ideal to have just one. It's sad that you had a premature failure is what I call it, because you should have another, I think, 7 years left on this boiler. But that's where we're at.
All right, Stacy Timmons went down the path with the boilers at the schools looking at warranty. None of these are under any kind of warranty?
No.
All right.
No, and it's unfortunate. Boilers should not fail. I think of the one in the school board office, stayed on their CIP for replacement for years. That's probably was a 40-year asset. Yeah. You should get 20 or 30 years minimum out of some of these boilers, depending on the type of boiler it is and so forth.
Seems like we keep buying junky boilers. We need to avoid junky boilers. I mean, we got the ones at the school, there's 3 out there we're replacing back with 2. We got 7 years out of those, which is absolutely appalling.
Yeah, those were 2013 models.
Yeah, that's pretty terrible. 10 years. And then we're getting 12 out of these. I mean, that's not good either. I mean, good Lord. Yeah. All right.
Can I ask a question?
Please.
So no manufacturer warranties these more than a year, 2 years, 3 years?
Normally it is a year. You can have, I think, make the case if something's failed in a 2 or 3 year period to try to make a case of an insurance claim, or similar to what Mr. Jackson was mentioning with the school boilers, something failing relatively that quickly. But there is no beyond.
And you can't buy an extended warranty.
No.
Any of those things.
They will call you, but no, we do not. It's a bummer. I mean, that's just a bunch.
And if you all are, I mean, it's definitely anything before I would sign, I'd get it in front of Hannon. I mean, there is a emergency procurement that would fit this criteria, but I feel better once we fully vet it more with, does it need a new control panel? Can we get something different that would fit the same footprint? How long does it take to get that in? Those type of answers I need to have for you at the next meeting.
Just a couple of
Please.
technical questions. First of all, what fuel runs these boilers? Natural gas or?
These are, I believe, propane.
Propane. They're propane.
Propane.
And is this steam or hot water circulation?
I'm sorry, what was
The
that?
boilers, are they steam? Is it a steam system or a hot water circulation?
Hot water.
Or hot water? For the courthouse, and I don't know how the feasibility is, but is it feasible to look into the future and perhaps move to a heat pump system for the courthouse? Now, school's a little bit different story, but thinking maybe we could look into that. Multiple mini split systems, and then you don't have everything at one time, and they're very efficient, extremely efficient.
We would definitely get engineering involved or talk to our current HVAC contractor to look at that, Mr. Jewett. I think you raised a very good point. These units, I know were specified specifically during the renovations that occurred back in '08 or '09. Bottom line, you shouldn't have failure this early at all. I was trying to get to my Bureau Veritas report just to give you, you were asking questions specific about gas-fired or so forth. The report showed these as life cycle is 30, the manufacturer is saying they're 20 years. Either way, they have failed prematurely. So we'll come back to the next meeting and give you a recommendation for approval.
I agree with Jim. I mean, we've got to be evaluating some options here. I mean, there's got to be a different direction to go, or at least to evaluate to see if there is some type of cost savings in lifetime of them, where we're not having to replace these major capital assets, even at 33K, which I assume is just the boiler components. It doesn't include the control system, I would assume. Is that right?
Yeah, right now, that's just boiler cost.
Yeah, that's a real. All right, come back in 2 weeks. I'm sure we'll talk about this before that.
Okay.
Anybody else got any questions for Mooney? Thank you, Mooney. All right. Greg Cave. Tell us big things, Greg Cave.
All right. So Alex Bencham, he completed his 4 NIMS training. That was the 4 most important trainings for disaster planning, the 1, 2, 7, and 8. He also received his pre-exposure rabies shots through the health department. And we are working with the health department on, we have another 4-month quarantine in progress, where 2 puppies came in contact with a skunk. Madison Health Department ordered the 4-month observational period after the skunk came back positive for rabies. Emily Bordon and myself and Alex went by the address yesterday to inspect the kennels and the puppies, and so far everything looks good. She approved the kennels, and the owner has started his post-exposure vaccines. So far we're doing pretty good on that, and they're going to be under observation. And just in case you heard, there was, this actually happened in Rappahannock, Culpeper County, not in Madison. There was a report of 5 cows that was possibly taken from the Boston, Culpeper area. And there was reports that they were being housed somewhere in Madison County. We later learned that from the owner, contacted our office, that they had been located in Culpeper County and returned, and charges are pending in Rappahannock.
Good.
That's all I had.
All right. Questions for Greg?
So you got a call on Christmas Day about this?
It actually, the 26th.
Oh.
But yeah, it did happen on, supposedly they were taken on the 25th.
Yeah, cattle rustling, that's a problem.
Never a dull
I've
night.
never experienced a call like this. February the 2nd, I'll be here 16 years. We've never had a call like this. So again, it didn't happen in Madison. Just reports that they were possibly being kept here in Madison. So we're still good.
Good. All right, any other questions for Greg? All right, Jerry, tell us about the park. See if you can use as many acronyms as Tracy used. Go ahead.
See what I can do. Won't have depressing news like Mooney had. So.
Yeah, well, that's good.
We have the Hometown Heroes Gala coming up at the Renback Barn on February 17th at 7 p.m. It is a award ceremony to honor exceptional individuals that have made an impact in our community. To purchase tickets, please go to hooverridge.com. The vote for the nominees is also on hooverridge.com, voting ending on January 19th. We have raised so far over $4,000 on the voting, with all proceeds going to the Outdoor Recreation Center. We also have a silent auction items at the gala, and we'll be still looking for more silent auction items to auction off. Blue Cut Media will be our DJ, and food will be provided by Over the Top Chef. With limited tickets left, please make sure you get your tickets before they run out. Also, for our calendar events for this year, Some of the highlights, the Wool and Wine Fest is on April 20th. This year, we expanded the sheepdog trials of 3 days, to April 19th, 20th, and 21st, with hopefully in the future making that a national event. Music in the Park is June 22nd, July 27th, August 24th, Halloween Fest, October 19th, Autumn Woods, October 26th, and S'mores of Santa on December 9th. And we also have numerous movie nights and other different events go along with that. Any questions?
Your lights look good, Jerry.
Thanks.
They look good.
They came down yesterday.
Yeah, they were good. Questions for Jerry? Very good. What's your favorite silent auction item for this Hometown Heroes thing?
For me,
Yeah.
dinner for two at Bavarian Chef.
Yeah, I was gonna say
There you
something
go.
edible.
All right. Oh, good. Thank you, Jerry. All right. I think that's everybody. We do have a consent agenda. We've got minutes from 11/28/2023 and then 12/06/2023. Judge should probably abstain on these, correct, Hannon? There you go. What would everybody like to do on the consent agenda?
Yeah,
Chairman, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Mr.
no, go ahead,
Chairman,
Jim.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
second.
Motion's made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Dustin, which way do you vote on the consent agenda?
I vote aye.
Good. And then abstentions.
Abstention because I'm not here.
There you go. All right. No special appearances. We do have old business. We do have a request by Mr. Wigby to do snow removal and some road maintenance. And then we've got the corresponding emails from all the neighbors in opposition to this. I'm sorry, I'm gonna make this real short and sweet. Right up there on Friday, there are trees planted in the right-of-way, and a rototiller. It's easy to get by, but still it's in the right-of-way. I think we've made our case very, very clear that all these things need to be not in the right-of-way. We've sent multiple letters at this point. Mr. Yao is going to tell us about how we have not followed, that Darrell has not followed procedure based on our position paper that multiple lawyers have written on. I don't see any reason to entertain this in any way at this point. Who else has things to say
Yeah, I
about
mean,
this?
I'm looking at the position paper, and I've got 3 questions. Did Mr. Whitby obtain the consent of all landowners? I assume not.
No.
That's probably a given.
Yeah.
But that's a process. Did Mr. Whitby send a copy of the proposal to all other residents? Probably not,
Doubtful.
because, and number 3, did any residents opposing the repairs submit a written response to the proposal? We got 1 this afternoon. But only after all these kinds of things are done will the county make a determination. I mean, we got a good process here, and there's no way he can come in here yesterday and expect for the rest of the residents to respond to what he's proposing, even if he did circulate them all. That, you need, I think you ought to have a week at least anyway, so. I mean, if we do nothing tonight but table this thing, which I don't even know whether we need to do that. Since he didn't follow the procedure, I would say at this point, maybe we would have a motion to just deny his request. But I don't know.
Could I ask a quick question?
Please,
Since
sure,
I'm
by
the-
all means.
I'm the newbie here. Who plows it, since he's been doing it 20 years, but who plows it if he's not doing it? Is it each individual's got to plow their section?
He has been doing it for a long time. Unofficially, there's another neighbor in that part of the world that has said that they'll go up there and push the snow out of the road for no cost, but just as a neighborly thing to do. And that individual is just on the basis that understands the demographics up there. And at this point, it's just too much.
Is there any medical issues if that isn't plowed? If a storm
Oh, I'm
comes?
sure there is.
So how does an ambulance get down in there?
Carefully. I don't know the answer.
I
I
just-
really don't. I mean, where do we have to go with this, Hammond? You gotta turn it on.
Where we go with this is not that different from where we've been, right?
That's
I mean,
correct.
In terms of, we're in the middle of a refinement of the position paper. We're gonna try to address snow removal. But we don't have a lot of ways forward here. I mean, we've decided we're gonna sort of remain in a status quo. It's sort of a least bad option at this point. Did I answer your question?
Not really, but I mean, kind of. These people live on top of a mountain. There is no HOA, so there is no community organized snow effort. Just coming off onto the VDOT roads, I'm sure those are, I don't know, just about at the end of every road that's going to be plowed in Madison County, especially coming down from Leathers Lane down to what's the road? Emmett? What's the road that goes past
Etland
too
Road.
far? Etland Road. Coming down that is steeper than can be, and I would hate to come down that in any vehicle with snow. I think they're not in any worse situation than they were a year ago or 5 years ago or 10 years ago. I think it's the same. By living up there, you kind of take things into your own hands. That's personal responsibility. So, I
So
mean,
while we got,
Go.
Noah, I
Yeah.
mean, there's tons of really long driveways in Madison County that
That's a good
when,
question.
when you guys try to respond, if you got to, what do? You assess the accessibility of where you're trying to get when you get there and make a determination of let's go for it or we can't do it or
Yeah,
what?
Exactly. We'll also reach out to the fire department, like if we have to hike in, but.
Oh, they cut a trail?
They can. Every call is different, so if it's this and a foot of snow, that's an adventure, that's hiking in.
That's Leathers
it's
Lane.
steeper than that, though.
But yeah, it's situational dependent, but Leathers Lane would be difficult.
In
And
every
At the end
way.
of the day, it would be difficult.
I mean, how long does it take to get over to your road? For VDOT to get it past your house? You're real close to 231.
Yeah, I'm close to 231, but it still takes a couple days
Yeah.
usually.
That's right.
And then when they go by, they piling the snow up at my driveway, so I can't get over the hump.
You're gonna have to hike it out.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really put us in a worse position. You live in the country, there's 11-minute response time, that seems pretty consistent across the board. Does that remotely answer your question in any way? Probably not.
It does, it's a shame that can't be worked out
Agreed.
with each other, but to me, it would be dangerous if I was had a health issue and
Yes.
an ambulance couldn't get in there.
Oh, yeah.
Agreed.
But, well, as the chairman is saying, I guess that's one of the factors you take into account when you move there.
Take up residence.
When I lived in Virginia Beach, I was real close to the hospital, so everything got scraped, the electricity came on like that compared to people in Pungo, that sort of thing. But if I could get Mr. Gordon to put his fire company hat on for a second and. Okay. So what you all are in the practice of helping out in these kind of situations, how does that work?
We're a small enough house where the sheriff, the EMS, fire, we all have to work together, something like that. VDOT gets involved too. We've had VDOT go in front of us to plow if we need to. So there are situations where we've done that.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thanks.
All right. What do y'all want to do with the request that is in front of us?
Well, Mr.
Please.
Chairman, I make a motion that we deny Mr. Whitby's request.
I'll second.
Motion's made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Thank you, Dustin. Opposed? All right, request denied. We have no other new business. Anybody have anything we want to discuss? All right, information and correspondence. Ms. Turner, tell us about COYA and 2024 requirements.
Alrighty, so a lot of people don't know what COYA stands for. This is my first year doing it, so I was a newbie, I needed to know too. So it stands for Conflict of Information Act. So a lot of different committees and boards fall under this category. The Board of Supervisors and the IDA, Industrial Development Authority, fall under this category. They must complete the Statement of Economic Interest before January 1. So what they need to do is either email it to me or they could give me a paper copy. This has to be done by February 1st or there is a penalty of $250. So it's really, really important that I get this. You were emailed it, but I can print it for you, whatever is easiest. Then there are also the financial disclosure statement that needs to be done by the PRA, which is the Parks and Rec team. They need to do the financial disclosure statement, and then RSA. We have 2 members here in Madison that need to do that, and they've also been emailed that form. The real estate the real estate disclosure form needs to be done by our county administrator, which he's already done his. So pat on the back for that one. The Planning Commission, they need to do this form. And then the Board of Zoning Appeals, which the Board of Zoning Appeals has done the most right now, so they're ahead of the game. One year I'm going to make this a competition who can get their forms in quicker. And then constitutional officers, they have to do it as well, but they file separately, so I don't track that. But if you are a constitutional officer, make sure you do yours before February 1st. And training, and I will lead it to Mr. Hannon if he wants to throw anything out, is going to be done January 17th following a planning commission workshop session. This is going to happen, we say 6:30 because I don't know how long their agenda will be for that day. But there will be FOIA training, COYA training, and then ADA training that's associated with zoning. So that will be really helpful for those that are needing to file currently this year. And COYA is an annual thing, so you have to do it every year around this time.
All right, Hannon?
There's also an online COYA training that's an option for people as well. When I talked to Ms. Berry this afternoon, we're set. We're good.
Good. All right, and that's the idea of the continuation tonight so that we can be all together and get all the training like we talked about at the organizational meeting. Anybody have any questions or comments on this? All right. We're back to public comment. Who's watching us?
So Gracie and Supervisor Dawson are the only ones
Hey.
on, and no one has put anything in the comments.
All right, we're consistent. Anybody? All right, thank you all for coming. We do have a closed session.
Mr.
This
Chairman, I
conference
move
is
that
no
the
longer
board
being recorded.
convene in a closed session pursuant to Virginia Code Sections 2.2-3711A1 for personnel.
I second.
Motion's made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. All right.
Oops. That's, you can.
Glad that we went down this path. Vote for denial on
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
That
me
is,
too. I changed my
I
mind.
like that a lot.
It's just.
I don't like it. I hate it in every way. I wish they'd work together.